Hello, everybody.
It's Jonathan J.O. Owen.
It's Kitty Kennedy.
And who are you?
I am Dusty Dan Trout from Dusty Dan's Whiskey Reviews.
Love it.
And you've tuned in to We Talk Whiskey Wednesday. Hit that button. Isn't that amazing?
It is amazing.
Yeah.
It's magic.
All right. So there was a slight bit of, let's see here. Dan got some whiskey and I got some whiskey and Dan got a liquor and Dan got some more whiskey. And Kitty participate in this as well.
Okay, I'm in there somewhere.
Yes. Somewhere. I'm not sure how, but hey, okay. So how are we going to start this? You want to talk about what we got and what you and I kind of traded and bartered with?
Yeah, absolutely. If you want to go first, I'll go after.
Okay. First and foremost, you sent us the Elijah Craig 136 proof.
136.
This is an old school bottle right
Jeez
here.
Louise.
Yeah, I actually had this one almost, I want to say 6+ years ago when John Hughes was still alive. He was my bourbon minter. All right. And also sent us a big surprise. I am totally looking forward to this because I love stuff like this. Jim Beam 1979, aged 100 months. How many years is that?
100 months? Jeez Louise. That's got to be close to 10 years.
Almost 10, yeah. About closer to just over 8.
Right.
Yeah. All right, Dan. So.
And then on my end, I received a Buffalo Trace single barrel number 90, which, to be honest, I've never had a single barrel pick from Buffalo Trace.
I did not take part in this selection. This is not part of my over 205 selected barrels. That one is not mine.
Okay. It smells good, though. So
yeah. I know. The guys who did it are very, very capable.
A 1792 full proof single barrel, 125 proof. There's that guy there. That's kind of hard to see. And then this one here is
1792. That's the one. I actually parted that pick one. And I'm sorry, we got Rock Gut Review in the house.
Yeah, that this one smells really good. This 1792.
You're gonna be surprised with that. That I'm not gonna say it in there.
And this last one here is Liqueur Cava Antigua. Did I say that right?
As far as I can tell, yes. Yeah. Nobody knows anything about this. This was given to me from the now gone Dusty bar called the Sapphire Room. He gave me this bottle because I was the only guy who walked up and said, I want to try that. Nobody knows anything. They know it's from the 90s. They know it is from Mexico. And the guesses are that it's an aperitif.
Yes.
Nice.
So, all right. And that's probably one of the crown jewels of my collection. All right. So, Kitty, let's go and let's pour us a little bit. Which one do you want to start with?
Let's go right for that Jim Beam.
Let's go.
I'm excited about that too.
Okay.
Yeah. The Jim Beam is definitely it's definitely different, even from your typical Jim Beam. It's just something that, again, that you find with some of these older Dusties. There's something that you just can't really recreate. My screen keeps blacking out. What is going on here? I don't know if I keep doing that, but so yeah, it's something that's they can't really recreate right now. It's just a different flavor profile from stuff that's made today.
Now different truth. I'm going to tell you the truth. The juice in this glass is 1 year older than me.
That's fine.
I'm looking forward to trying this.
It's different.
Okay.
I'm gonna start with this Buffalo Trace single barrel. I'll start with this guy first.
You're gonna be impressed with that one, I think. And Rod,
like I said, I've never had a pick of the Buffalo Trace. There's actually really nice legs on this thing.
Yeah, the legs on this are very slow to form, but you can definitely tell it's old.
Yeah, there's some
definitely.
It's cloudy. Could be our glass.
I don't know who's in the chat right now, but if Rock Gut's still out there and anybody else, it's good to have you here right now. So thank you for tuning in.
Grab yourself
Yes,
a
thank
glass.
you guys for tuning in.
Grab yourself a glass
Oh,
and
hey,
join
we got
us.
the Oak and Smoke. Hey, guys. What's up, Dan?
What's going on, Brent?
Hey
And
there.
Brent. And so, Brent, next week is our 4-year anniversary. And so we'd like to get a couple of guys. If you're interested, go and blast me out. You have my number. Blast me out there. And we can always see about getting you involved in it. We're going to try and get a bunch of guys and see what we can do and just have a nice little 4-year birthday party and go for our 2,000K subscriber. All right. Oh, I'm here, says Rock Gut. In which, hey, your review last week over, oh goodness, I don't remember what it was, but I was going to say that was a good review. I don't remember what the last one it was that you put up. And so I'm so sorry.
Whoa. Can
What do
you
you
guys
think?
still see me?
I can see you.
You can, yeah, okay.
You're frozen, though.
Am I? Yeah, my phone's like, it's clonking out here. I don't know what's going on.
Sounds good, says Oak and Smoke.
Mm.
Man, there's unmistakable Jim Beam, and you can tell it is unmistakably a dusty bottle.
Yes.
Because, we lost him. So
Oh,
hopefully
hey.
he comes right back to us because I really don't want to carry this without him.
Mhm.
So hopefully he'll be able to tune. Oh, there he is. He's tuning back in, guys.
I don't know what's going on. I don't know. It keeps on timing out on me here. I don't know why.
Weird. Okay.
Screensaver.
Could be screensaver, says Kitty.
Sorry about that, guys. It's never happened to me before.
Okay.
Well, you have all that dusty bourbon and whiskey. Maybe are you running off a DOS platform and you're
Oh, don't be cruel, Kitty. Don't be cruel.
just kidding? That's a little IT humor.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. I've never had that happen before.
Nathan just jumped in. He says, "Hey, Kitty. Hope your family is doing well."
Yes. Thank you.
Let's see here. So I'm just gonna say. Some
I came
words.
back on the right day. This is really a treat for me because I was telling Dan how I have 101 questions for him in regards to dusty collection, vintage, authenticity.
This is to me an antique shop. It is quite unique, and I'm enjoying it every bit on there. Had a couple of last week, the Adlaws and Grastovich and the Uncle Nearest. That's the
Oh.
one, Rock Gut. It was the Uncle Nearest. You and your wife just did an excellent review on that one. And so, yeah, I really did enjoy it. Excuse me there.
We just had an event in Louisville, the symposium, and Fawn was the keynote speaker, and we got a pour in one of the breakout sessions of their not yet released. And we did the review on it in our seminar because she was like, this just came in, you guys get a pour and review it. But I love Uncle Nearest whiskey. It's lovely.
The few times I've had it, I got to try their maple finish, which I was just really and truly shocked at, that it could just be so mellow and good. It still shocks me to this day. I am really old school whiskey, but when I try a Jack Daniels or a Jim Beam product and I think this is actually good, that's all new to me. Because I came in where they just were not that good, and their product is coming back in.
All right, so how crooked is my screen? I'm sorry, guys. I don't understand what's going on here.
Let's see. Open Smoke says, "What up at the Rock Gut?" Rock Gut is a lot of fun. I like those guys. So this is opening up in glass.
That's right.
The Jim Beam notes are now starting to show up.
Yes.
It went from that antique shop, but it's tickling the nose. I didn't realize until I started editing how often I grab my nose after I smell these things.
Well, and the antique, I'm a vintage hunter, not just bourbon, but also, clothing, jewelry. And it's like the clothes section of a vintage shop.
Oh yeah,
I mean, there's just something about the meshing of all of those smells.
yeah.
And it's like, furniture or old
the
furniture.
furnitures, I'm such a nerd in those things. I actually like to smell the old perfumes as well.
Really?
And it's such a unique experience. And we got 8 people in the chat, guys. Thanks for
Nice.
tuning in.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've hit that like or not, but if you have not, please do. It would mean a lot to us.
And the people in the chat, how many of you have vintage dusty bottles in your collection as well? And then
they can be full or empty, like this cat back here.
Right.
I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stand up and I'm going to grab this guy.
Dan, you look good.
Yeah, you do, Dan.
All right, thank you guys. Sorry about that.
This is my old
Just
dusty.
keep running out for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
It is a full-on, and actually, if you look, you can see the cork wedged in there. But it is a 12-year-old Ezra Brook, and I mean, it is holdable like an old-school musket, but it is ceramic. And this I picked up at a garage sale for $3, even though there was no alcohol in there. I was just like, take my money.
So, hi, Cliff Lash. I asked, Nathan asked, hey, Gio, what's your favorite bottle design? Mine are the Old Crow chess pieces. Those are by far my favorite.
I'm sorry, nerd alert. For me, the Three Stooges head of the Jim Beam decanters. I really like the fire truck.
Yeah.
That's good. Anything in a vehicle as well.
Okay, Cliff Lash says, hey, J.O., how close is your shop to the Cork and Bottle in Covington? If you go across the Big Mac, we are almost exactly 2 miles away. We are over in Newport, Bellevue. If you know where the Bellevue, where the Newport on the levee is, we are about 2 blocks from them. And then John, the whiskey whisperer, the wee whiskey sipper, Watson, you're a new channel.
What's up, John?
I haven't met this guy.
Yeah, he's awesome, man.
I haven't checked him out. So
I love it.
I haven't met him yet.
I love the handle.
It's good to meet you.
Say that 3 times.
Wee whiskey
sipper Watson. Whiskey sipper Watson.
That is something else.
Whiskey sipper Watson.
Camera looks good, Dan. You're doing good.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, like I said, I'm sorry. I've never had a timeout on me like that before.
That's okay. So let's get back to these reviews. Kitty and I are drinking this 1976 100-month one that you sent us. And you are doing the Buffalo Trace single barrel, which I was not.
I can tell you this Buffalo Trace. I'm picking up a lot of citrus on. I get some lime. I get some lemon. It's almost like a salted caramel that I pick up on it, which is very, very unique.
I know. Yeah, that is a great barrel. Our Buffalo Trace barrel selections just don't.
Hi, ADHD.
Yeah, we got ADHD in the house.
Did you see my striper? You see my striper bass? I went fishing this weekend.
Kitty got a big one.
Here, I got my limit.
You got your limit? Yeah, that was big.
You guys have a lot of places to fish around you?
I went to Tennessee. I went to down to Morris Lake. They have striper bass there. Our about 15 pounds and 19 pounds. We were pretty lucky. All 8. We had 4 people.
Nice. That's awesome.
We can only take 8 fish. So it was good.
Fish sticks.
No fish sticks.
All right. And so I want to
I
kind of give this a full breakdown right now, just on the nose. It is so undescribable. I mean, literally, it is like a praline pecan, a little bit of pecan pie, but yet tons of molten brown sugar. I'm going to taste this. I can't stand it.
I mean, for me, it's got a wet cardboard. I mean,
on the nose, I can see that. Yeah, I mean, you get that from an old.
And that's not a bad thing. I mean, it's like it has a dryness in its nose to me that you can pick up on the fact that it is vintage.
Yeah, Oak and Smoke says he has not had a bad Buffalo Trace pick yet, Dusty Dan, but you definitely can tell this is aged a lot. A lot of oxidization has happened there, but yet the flavors are so amazing.
What's the story behind this bottle, Dan?
This is just one that I had picked up from a group that I was in, and surprisingly enough, there was only I'd say 6 to 8 ounces of evaporation in that one. So not too much. A lot of times, what happens is the quality of the cork that can play a big role in
without a doubt.
how much you lose and whatnot. But this one was I said it was only a couple ounces out of it. So when I poured it out, but other than that, yeah, I mean, it was just one that I had picked up from my group for a really good price that I couldn't pass up. So I said, send it.
Thank you for sharing, man. This is an honor.
Are you doing bottle preservation? And do you change the corks out just to keep what you have a little more?
It depends on how bad the cork is, but I save all my corks. I recommend any person out there to save their corks.
Mm-hmm.
But also another thing that I do is,
What is that?
if I were to find a dusty bottle, not even necessarily a dusty, just something that I really enjoy, maybe a single barrel or something, and as it starts to get worked down into the bottle, and I don't want that flavor to change, I do go out and buy some of the 200 milliliter bottles, and I'll fill up the 200 milliliter bottle all the way to the top with that expression, just to try to keep it, from the flavor to change anymore. So I do like to do that, and I've done it with multiple bottles. So.
Yeah.
Why do you recommend saving the corks?
Well, just in case, for instance, one of the dusty bottles that I had, it was an Ezra Brooks, actually. The cork completely broke on it.
Okay.
As I was trying to pull it out, the top of it came off of me. The other piece just stayed inside, so I had to push it through and filter it all out and all that good stuff. So that's why I highly recommend saving corks of all shapes and sizes.
Right.
Just in case, because like I said, I mean, there was no way for me to reuse that cork at all. So.
Oh, I gotcha.
And it was I don't know if you ever seen the one, but it's in the shape of a cat. It's like a grayish cat, kind of tall. But so the head's floating around somewhere in one of my cabinets right now.
Okay. I'm enjoying this, Dan.
Mm-hmm. It's very tasty.
Definitely something you want to sip and savor and think about the flavors and the history. And it is quite an experience to drink something, since I am 42 this year, to drink something that is 43 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I have always been attracted to older women, or older liquors. Sorry. I don't mean that anyway. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Well, like I said, when I do decide to go live, and which is hopefully going to be soon. Like I said, I've never done one before, but I would like to have everyone on the channel at some point, and sending them out some dusty whiskey to try along with me. So it's all about sharing, to be honest, man. It's something I really enjoy. I've done it a lot, and I still enjoy it. So
I am looking forward to your opinion on this one when you get there, because like I say, the best whiskeys are shared with people who appreciate it. And this is not whiskey though, but I am going to show you this here. It's upside down, and I'm not going to hold it upside down, but I'm going to hold it up in front of the camera. This was purchased for $1.10.
That's crazy.
National price sticker on there. And it was from the Texas State Paid. And so they actually have the 5 on there for the inspector who did it. And he paid, whoever brought this in paid taxes to bring it in from Mexico.
That's awesome.
So Dan, how many dusty bottles and what is the definition to be able to call it dusty or a vintage bottle? How many do you have, and is that your primary focus, or do you have a balanced with the new releases as well each year?
Yeah, I would say I do keep a balance. Like I said, I'm a big fan of single barrel picks and whatnot. And right now, I think my total dusty count would probably be maybe close to 50.
Oh wow!
Maybe a little closer to 60. So and what I would classify as a dusty would be, obviously, my oldest being some 1917 from pre-Prohibition. And what I would consider dusty is all the way up into the late 70s. Yeah, I mean, it just really, I guess that's a question you can ask anybody. They may have a different answer, but there's even some stuff from the 80s that I would guess I would consider a dusty as well. But I would honestly say probably mid 70s, 77, 76, something like that would be kind of maybe my cutoff.
That's a great collection. 50.
That is a nice collection.
What's your prize in your collection?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Or top 3 prizes.
What's
I
your
don't want
favorite?
to spoil too much because I know 1 or 2 of them are going to be on maybe a special episode that I have. But I do have one of the ones from pre-Prohibition is the 1917 Old Special Reserve, I believe it is. That one is it was made in 1917, bottled in 1934 or 35, if I'm not mistaken.
Wow.
That's one I would say. I have an Old Taylor, 1950s, 1943 Old Taylor, bottled in bond. That's another one of the ones that was a very special find. But that I would say that's probably 2 of the ones that I'll talk about now. But
Yeah,
I gotcha.
some of them, like I said, I'll probably save for if I ever hit that 1,000 mark, which is maybe a little ways down the road still. But
Who knows, dude? You're doing a really good job on it. People
I appreciate
what you're doing.
Yes. Well,
I mean, look at this. I mean, it took me 3.5 years to reach 1,000.
Yeah.
And
I'll tell you, this Buffalo Trace single barrel, I'm about to finish this whole thing here.
Mhm.
This is good.
yeah,
That's very good.
I'm honestly looking forward to you trying some of the others, but that Buffalo Trace is a great bottle, and it's I'm
really good.
nursing this bottle. This is wonderful stuff.
Mhm.
Now I do have to throw out Kitty. Do you have any Dusties?
No,
I was just going to ask her that.
no, but I was saying is that before when we got on early, that I'm going to go to my mom and dad's because I've tasted a lot of Dusties, particularly with Mr. Bonds over at Sapphire Room in Covington. He had quite a collection, and but my parents, I think, unbeknownst to them, have some pretty unusual things in the basement. So, they just would buy, liquor and then just put it on the shelf and never drink it. So I know we've got a bunch of vehicles that have liquor in them, whiskey. I know we've got a Seagram's bottle, and if it has Canadian on, Canada, made in Canada on it, I'm going to, jump up and down.
Mm-hmm.
And I do believe they have one of the Old Crow pieces in the basement because I thought it was like a tiki doll.
I thought that was
a tiki statue. I mean, so this is an area. I would consider myself still a novice bourbon drinker. I mean, so I'm still trying to just learn all things bourbon. To jump into the to the Dusty bottle collection, I'm just going to sit here and enjoy it and learn. But I did go to Bardstown Bourbon Company, and I cannot believe their collection there. It is just unbelievable. Those of you are on the thread, if you've never been to take, if you really want to see a collection, holy smokes, it's just impossible.
ADHD just posted, I have some unusual noises coming from my basement. Probably not bourbon. Yeah. Yeah, I would be a little concerned about that too. I have 3 cats, and so that's my first thought.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've tried Oak and Smoke says, I tried the 1940 Old Taylor bib from Dan.
Mm-hmm.
It was very nice at the party source.
Nice.
All right. Thanks for the heads up there, Oak and Smoke. Yeah. I used to have a couple of old Dusties. The pride and joy that I had was a brandy. It had never been opened. It was purchased by a grandpa let me start here. It was laid to rest pre-Prohibition. It then hit America nearly 20 years later after it sat in that barrel. When it hit America, it was purchased in New York at the equivalent of a Woolworth. It then sat on the people's shelf until Grandpa died in 2016. They brought the bottle in unopened, not much evaporation at all. And I was so intrigued with it, and they were so grateful for me for helping them identify what it was. They sold it to me for $100. I tried it a little bit corked, but it was gloriously honey. It was beautiful. And my liquor cabinet collapsed. And the one and only bottle that was damaged was that one.
Mm.
I was just heartbroken because I wanted to save it because it was that classic thick European green glass.
Yeah, nice.
It was beautiful. I'm bringing.
So what's the oldest what's the oldest bourbon or rye or that you guys have tried?
Me, Kitty, you go first. And just a second. Hi, Bourbon Journey. What's up, buddy?
Right.
It's good to see
What's
you,
up,
man.
Scotty?
And Scott, hey, before we get much further into this, next week is our 4th year anniversary for the Party Source Reviews. So, and we're also going to do a 2K drive. We're about 210 subscribers away. So please, I would love to have you on the chat with us. And I mean, on the camera with us if you're interested. Just going to be, God knows what we're going to be talking about, but I would love it if you join us. I'm pretty sure Kitty would too. All right.
Now,
Okay,
are you talking about?
now go ahead.
Are you talking about a dusty or a regular, bottle in a collection? So
Just a regular bottle. Just whatever. What's the oldest thing you've
I have
ever
been
tried?
privileged enough to have Pappy 23. So that's for me would be, that's mine.
Yeah. Let's see here. I've had 36-year-old Scotch with an actual label on it. I had a 60-something-year-old Scotch. This actually makes your tongue go numb. I'm the other thing I'm starting to have a little 12 o'clock in here. But yeah, it's very, very unique. But one of the more interesting ones was an old dusty bottle that was given to me to try. Was an old Jim Beam decanter bottle from the 70s. But the first thing you do when you get those guys is you test the lead in the liquor because they use lead paint on them. It was just a taste, so it wasn't enough to hurt me, but the level of lead in there, if I were to drink a glass of it, would be the equivalent of taking a drink from a toxic waste pile.
Nice.
Yes. But
We've done some reviews on stuff like that.
toxic waste stuff, yes. Oh my gosh. Okay.
I won't name any names, but there are a few that was like, wow, I don't know, man.
That roaming man for
What?
one.
No, we
that
gotta
one.
stop saying it. Okay, so from that standpoint, when we did have the event, they did the pour from one of the ceramic decanters, the Old Crow. So that was, so we had that. I think that was a 1964, if I'm not mistaken, around in that. That would be right.
Your glass is empty.
Well, you gave me such a skimpy pour. See how he rations?
Well,
He rations me because I get kooky at about the 32-minute mark.
well, I ordered the same exact amount. Just Kitty drinks a lot faster than me.
It's like I enjoy it a lot more, apparently.
Now, probably the oldest and most unique thing I've ever had was actually brought into me by a customer. And it was brought in a miniature mason jar. But the story was, it was from a gentleman who is local here. The house had been in the family for generations. The family knew that a prohibition was coming. So they bought hundreds of rye whiskey. To this day, they do not know what was purchased. And in order to protect them, they then sealed them and canned them in mason jars. So if anybody came in and saw the bottles, they would be safe. They could say it was something else. They had so much of it, they sipped on it up until 2017 when they passed away. And the family was selling the house and cleared it out. And it ended up being passed around to the neighbors. And this neighbor knew that I appreciated it. And he brought me about 2 fingers in a little mason jar. God knows what it was, but it was beautiful. And my arm hairs are standing up thinking about it.
That good.
Yeah.
And I was thinking that was that Old Smoky moonshine that we've been reviewing with pickles, cherries, peaches.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I don't know
The last bit of it, I had it sealed in that jar, and I would sip on it occasionally. But the group is no longer around. It ran up till about last year. But I was a member of a private bartenders guild in which It was called the No Judgment. And we would get together, and if you wanted to make a cocktail with a Pappy 23 and use a $500 vermouth with it, nobody was going to judge you. It was not about it was about making a true quality cocktail, not mattering about the price point. We used Hibiki 17 and this $400 vermouth to make a Manhattan that would make angels cry. And it was just, I brought that in and I shared it with the group, and all of them were just like, this is one of the most glorious things I've ever tasted. So,
hey, Dan,
That's awesome.
a question popped up. Is lead poisoning a concern with older Dusties?
I've never come across anything. I mean, I'm sure it is. Don't get me wrong. I'm sure there are some concerns out there, and there may be some bottles that would be questionable, but nothing that I have has any lead in it, and that's 100%. So
we're gonna put that up there. I wasn't reading; I was too busy talking.
So the review and the tasting we did with the chess piece, and it's obviously a ceramic bottle, and the Bardstown had brought them from their collection and then did the pour out of them, and they had talked a little bit about the basically the disintegration of the ceramic on the inside, in which case some of the bottles are not, you cannot drink them because there's so much debris in them, and that would be, but they didn't say too much about the lead in regards to that, because that question was asked of them as well. Is that if it was completely disintegrated and pulling from the paint that's on the outside, that's absolutely lead. Right. But the ceramic in the inside would still be okay. But if it dissolved a lot, and then how much decanting do you do for your Dusties? I mean, do you decant and filter because you do have debris? Or? I do. Okay.
Yeah, it's not necessarily just due to debris. I just sometimes when it sits in the decanter, whether it's half full or all the way full, after a while it starts to get a certain odor to it, which is almost a musty smell, if you will. You don't find it in all of them. It's just it's been very random when that does happen. But I do decant any decanter that I get. I will pour it into a large mason jar and just store it in there. So
okay. I got to read this comment here from Oaken from My Bourbon Journey, and he says, I mean, look at Dan and how turned on he is from when I was describing that pre-prohibition rye. that is a comment of the day right there.
No, that's not what it says.
What does it say?
He said about the ceramic bottles, and it said, well, look at Dan and how he turned out.
Oh, shit. Oh, God. I mean, I'm not wearing my glasses, guys. I was thinking,
that's a little different.
Dan's turned on to me talking about this old whiskey.
Thanks, Scotty.
Oh, God.
And it goes sideways.
So we went ahead and we poured up some of this 136 proof.
Elijah Craig.
Yeah, I'm gonna. I actually finished all the Buffalo Trace, so that was really good, man.
Which one are you going for?
I'm gonna move on to the 1792.
All right. I'm really curious to think what you say of this one. This is one of them I actually went down and selected. Really, really proud of this bottle.
It's got a really interesting nose.
Yes.
What's the story behind this Elijah Craig? Where'd you get this, and how long have you had it?
This one was actually I got off of the secondary market when that was alive, and I've had this one for this 136 one. I think probably a little over a year. I believe I have 6 or 7 of the collection of the older ones right now.
Okay.
So it's some of the later ones when they first came out, or some of the ones I don't have right now.
So anyway, My Bourbon Journey. I read this. I mean, look at how Dan turned out. I read it as, I mean, look how turned on Dan is. Lol. Rather than how Dan turned out. And for me talking about those, I thought it was me talking about that pre-prohibition rye whiskey that I was given. And so that's what's going on. I misread it. and Kitty corrected me. And so that we're having a good laugh there.
Hi, Vanessa.
That's
Vanessa.
that's Scotty at his best right there.
Uh-huh.
Vanessa, thanks for joining in. So good to see you. And we have Joseph Arntz in the chat as well, man. Okay,
If you're just joining us, we're doing some not reviews really, just tasting of some Dusty collection that Dan shared with us. And then we shared some samples back to Dan of Buffalo Trace and 1792. And then a special bottle from what we believe is Mexico that we're going to review with him as well.
Thank God for Kitty.
Somebody's got to keep this freaking train on the rails.
Normally, me and Kitty's are losing her stuff over here.
Last week was a mess. That's all I got to say.
Oh, it was a wonderful hot mess, though.
It
was so much fun.
It was funny, but it was like
what was that? That live stream over making peanut butter cocktails. It was fun.
Peanut butter whiskey. It was good.
I mean, I had to break this table apart when I spilt it on there to get all that chocolate and vanilla ice cream out of here. Okay. God, this nose is beautiful.
This is really good.
Yeah.
And I love a high proof anything. So 136 proof. I've not had much in that category.
Nathan,
it's hard for me to pick out a favorite of some of the older Elijah Craig's. The 136. I mean, the mouthfeel is very viscous, and the flavors are just so layered. The 139.8 is another fantastic one. I have the Hazmat. I haven't cracked it yet, though. That's something I'll wind up cracking later on. But those are some of the ones you just don't see too often anymore.
My bourbon journey says he'll be right here all night. But jumping over here, Nathan Tooney says, how do you start a vintage collection? Well, you can start searching around. A lot of times antique shops have the older ones. If not, contact some older bourbon collectors. Sometimes you just get lucky. And I just noticed your shirt is a mash and drum.
Yeah.
I just noticed that. And the other is you can just save your whiskey and not drink it for 30 years. That's the hard way.
I'll never have a vintage collection.
No, you won't. Neither will I.
I drink it.
There's you can find some bottles at estate sales every now and again. You know, and surprisingly enough, there's some liquor stores you can actually go into where they will have some Dusties that are, you know, maybe sit on the shelf, but they may want a pretty penny for them. So
a lot of them will be opened, and so you don't know evaporation or even the quality. So a lot of them are corked. But there is a local place that has a hidden room which gives a tour of it, and it's like they designed it to be like a hidden speakeasy. And it is just so cool to go in there and see these old Dusties and try these vintage. I mean, when we think Old Dusty, we think like a lot of people think decanters, but I mean, what was a generic label of we'll just say Old Crow from 1940 is really cool by today's standards. Oh, and
there's
in the chat.
It's just things that are just so simple too. Like, you know, I have a 1974 Old Hickory, and it has like Andrew Jackson on the front of it. You know what I mean? And that's one that you know, again, you know, some of these things you can actually find in stores still and at estate sales, but you're going to wind up paying for them. That's the biggest thing. So.
Right. Well, and so how long have you been collecting, Dan?
That's a great question. I'd say, I mean, it probably hasn't been not even 3 years, maybe something like that. So not too long.
Okay.
Dude, I forget how beautiful these old school Elijah Craig's are.
It's really good.
Unmistakably Elijah Craig, but just there's a slight difference that makes it more buttery. We've got D2 in the chat who says he's on a flight to a flight to New York City. Happy 9/11, everybody. Wish he brought his headphones so he could listen to us. We've also got sorry, what?
Who was it in the chat?
D2, DeShilf 2.
Okay, yeah.
Dusty.
Going on D-Silv. He's in the chat all the time.
He is everywhere. That dude has so much. We also got one of my favorite fun wine reviewers, Backwoods Billy Craft Beers Reviews. And let's see here. We've got Rock Gut Sound.
That's really good. I'm from Wisconsin, Rock Gut, so I'd probably know the neighborhoods you're speaking of in Milwaukee. Richie Z.
Gentrified Skull. Hey, Richie Z.
Richie,
hey, buddy.
Richie Z. My broski.
Yeah.
Richie's an awesome guy. I talk to him all the time.
Let's see here. Richie Z has joined in on our chat before.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see here. Backwoods says there's an article in a whiskey magazine about collecting whiskey, a guy with a ton of valuable whiskey in Baltimore City. There's some really cool bars to be seen that have some of this stuff, especially when you start getting to New England area. And then D2 says, yeah, if you want a rare old whiskey, go to a store you might get shot at and tip the guy who offers you to shine your wheels. Oh boy. Rock Gut Review, pretty sure your first channel with a PR whiskey. Okay. Yeah, man.
So
I would say actually another.
Okay, go ahead.
Was that?
No, go ahead.
I was going to say another bottle that I would say is probably one of my prized is it's the Old Heaven Hill. It's a 15-year bottled and bond.
Wow.
It was pre-fire, so it was made in 1975 and bottled in 1990. That's one that's you don't see any of those anymore.
No, you do not. You do not. It's like I went to a particular liquor store that I thought I might end up getting shot at, and I found not one but two 1792 225th anniversary sitting on the shelf for $35. This was about 2 months.
What?
Yes.
Wow.
So I now have 2.5 bottles in my collection, which is 2 more than I ever thought I would have again.
And one too many, because I should have the other one.
I'll give it to you. It's good stuff. I
thought we were friends. See how he squirrels things away. So I do have a question about how do you know you're getting an authentic vintage Dusty?
Well, I mean, number one, it would start with the source you're getting it from. Honestly, that's probably number one. I'm friends with a pretty small group of guys that are still on Facebook and then another site who just keep it kind of hidden. And they all have a great track record and they all have collections that would put mine to shame. So every now and again they put something up that's too hard to pass, and I wind up grabbing it. But one thing to obviously look for is making sure that the tax strip is intact. Number one, if it's torn, that raises a red flag right there for sure. Number two, sometimes if you get say a 200 milliliter of something and the labels seem to be very flimsy and flaky, that right there, there are definitely fraudulent bottles out there. And what happens a lot of the times is they can recreate some of these labels and stick them to the front and the back. There's very creative people out there. So sometimes you will see traces of glue that doesn't look to be very old. So either they try to glue it themselves to fix it, or it could have been them putting a fake label on the outside. But for the most part, I would just say if you do want to try to find some Dusties, go through someone who's very trusted, who has been around for a while and has a collection of their own. I would say that would be the biggest thing is just go through the right source for it.
All right.
I think my mom and dad's basement is pretty trustworthy.
I'm in
You never know.
I can't wait to get down there. Seriously, Dan, you're going to hear from me. I'm going to be taking pictures and sending things.
Yes,
As I know there's at least 4 or 5 things down there that could be a surprise or be a complete dud, but I'm looking forward to the hunt.
I got his
awesome.
number, so if you want, I can get you his number.
Okay.
All right. And so, Dan, I am really excited to find out your opinion about my cava before we get.
All right. Yeah.
I'm really excited.
Okay.
What did you think of this, though? before we go much further? I know you were kind of
1790. It's actually really good. I'm stopping myself from finishing the bottle, but there's almost like a slight smoky note to it, and this is just something I get. I don't know if you get it or not. But it's almost like it's like the remnants of a barbecue or something like that. It's kind of just left over, just the slightest
real quick.
The slightest bit of smoke that's in there. Great depth to it. It's got a great mouthfeel. It's viscous.
Yeah.
There's
one of them.
I get some dark fruits in there for sure. Not so much on the light fruits, but I get a lot of dark fruits in there. But there is something that's like, it's almost like a smokiness to it, and it's fantastic.
Yeah, D2 actually got to try this one, but this is this bottle here, when we got it, it lasted about a week before we sold out. This was one of them in which was just everybody loved it. Kitty came in to get her some too. It was just absolutely wonderful. Drinking some Stag Junior, says My Bourbon Journey.
Nice.
Just cracked a bottle of Little Book Chapter 1.
Oh.
And look who just graced our chat. Whiskey
Antonio.
Tip my glass to you.
Dang, out there.
Are you still sick? Is that why you're not at work? Because, you know, I also got to say real quick to Whiskey Quest, next week, Kitty and I are doing our 4-year anniversary for our YouTube channel. We've got a few people lined up, and we would love to have you join us if possible. It's also going to be our 2K drive. All right. So with that said, this is wonderful stuff.
Very.
Oh, the 1792 is fantastic, man. This is a great barrel here.
Yeah. All right. I'm gonna go and pour a little bit of coffee. I don't want to get those mixed up. Look,
and that's one of the things I love about these single barrel picks, just how different they are from just the standard bottle. Just the flavor range is just all over the place. I mean, I have a 1792 up here. It's nothing like this one. They're so polar opposite. It's crazy.
We were just noticing we put the Elijah Craig up against the 1792, and the depth of color and the Elijah Craig.
Elijah Craig,
like
super dark.
Twice the color.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
All right, you're gonna give me a glass of our some of this Cava.
So yeah, I mean, like I was saying earlier about putting some stuff in the smaller bottles. This is actually down to a level where I'm probably going to wind up doing that just so the flavor doesn't change. Because I'm very, very happy with how it tastes right now. So,
if you're just joining us, we're reviewing some. Well, actually, just getting a pour and doing a little reviewing of some Dusty bottles shared with Dan, by Dan, and then we shared some pours back, 1792 and a Buffalo Trace, and this little gem here.
I'm going to be very stingy with the pours on this one.
Yes. Now, the story behind this is that J.O. attended one of my Bourbon Women Association events.
I'm safe and secure in my masculinity.
There's about 50 to 100 women who get together and drink bourbon at various establishments every month across greater Cincinnati. And so we went to it was actually a Dusty collection shared by Mr. Bonds at Sapphire Room in Covington, Kentucky. And J.O. can tell the rest of the story because he eyeballed this, and it was tell the story about this bottle.
Okay.
Well, it's a
say this.
Beautiful bottle.
Get better, Antonio, man. Get better. I was going to respond in the chat, so I'll just say it out loud.
Yeah, that is a beautiful bottle.
Yeah. Okay, so they do not know where it is. They know it's Mexico. It is called Cava Antigua. There's some. It is made in. I can't quite read it. Hechoen, Mexico. Hacian, and it is it's punched in on leather. So this entire area is leather. The neck is leather, and it is a very low ABV. It's only 20%, so it is 40 proof. And the bottle is very rough, almost like it's almost like it's handmade because there's so many
Right.
impurities in it that it's like somebody hand blew this.
It's definitely hand blown. Yeah.
But and then you can see where they physically stuck this on because there are so many impurities on it. The nose, when I first open it up, it is straight up like it reminds me of going to the movie theater and trying cherry sours.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
As far as we can tell, it is some kind of aperitif. Nobody knows what the base is. $1.10 was paid for this bottle, and taxes were paid on it when it came back into the States.
I get the old school licorice before they kind of changed the recipe on licorice. Red licorice.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
No, it's a lot of fun.
It's it's a beautiful color. I mean, it's not like any liqueur aperitif. I mean, it's a pink. I mean, it's a beautiful pink.
It's crystal clear too.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And it's not fully from the oxidization. If it was a Campari, it would have had like a little bit of that bitter wormwood, some of that cottonwood in there, and as well as, oh goodness, completely naturally, when I try to think of it, I can't say what it is. But the Camparis are a lot of orange peel and zest and bitterness on the back, but yet a sweetness. There is none of that bitter in there.
And their consistency is very chewy and thick and and sticky. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah. The more it does sit in the glass, the more it becomes medicinal, almost like a cherry NyQuil.
Yes.
Yeah.
Cherry chocolate, cherry cough drops.
Okay, yeah. But this is one I really want to know your thoughts on.
And then the cough drop with a little bit of dust.
As far as we know, this could be a remedy for like cough syrup.
Yeah, one that was left in my pocket of my winter coat for a while.
Oh, I like that a lot.
I do too. But
I mean, it's just I'm crazy for these old school liquors.
Mm-hmm.
I really am.
It's very sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, unmistakably
it's
sweet.
Crazy sweet.
But yet you can kind of feel the bitter constricting on your tongue as it sits there. There's definitely some kind of a flour that is a bittering agent in there.
It's very viscous, man. Even for being so low proof, the flavor just sits there right on your tongue. It's just right on the top.
It's consistent, the nose to the taste, for sure. I mean, it doesn't go, sideways into some other realm. I mean, it is what it is.
It's a crazy amount of cherry, but yet it is medicinal. It is thick and syrupy. Yeah. And it literally has that cough drop. And I like, one of my wildest imaginations on it is, this is a bottle of medicine that we're drinking as alcohol. It's like big bulk medicine that was brought in by made by some Mexican grandma out there.
All right. Well, and there's a lot of writing which pretty much says probably do not operate any vehicles after having a sip of this.
Yeah, I
highly recommend that you go directly to bed after having some. This is where it all goes sideways, people. See, we're past the 45-minute mark, and I'm normally.
This is where Kitty gets the most entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
In the worst cases, I get the. You know what I might do is I might snap a picture of this and send it to Antonio and see if he can translate anything for me.
Mm-hmm.
I do say that, what is really cool about it is when you really look at the print on the leather, you can see that is actually a buried wine cellar. It has a brick roof with a rock floor, and there are barrels on each side with a door. And so it is, I can't see if you guys can make it out. It looks like you can here, but it is such a unique bottle, and I really want to know more about it. Yeah. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm just going to snap that picture and send it directly to Antonio and see if he can make anything out on it.
It's still just sitting right on the top of my tongue. That's crazy.
It is.
Thank you for sharing this with me. I appreciate it.
I knew that this is something that needed to be shared with you, because this is one of those ones that is just, the best bourbons in the world are to be shared.
Wait a minute here. I'm finding a new word.
You find a new word on there? That's
Wait a minute. Does that say tequila?
Holy shoot! It does say
It says
tequila.
tequila on the bottle.
It says liquor. It has its original plastic wrap covering it.
Okay, let me look
But
some
see if you can read that
more. I
there.
need to
I'm
get
gonna-
a light on this. Hold on a second here. Okay, that changes everything.
Yeah, if it's a tequila base, that is weird.
All right. It has
Here we
liqueur on
go.
the top, Cava Antigua, but on the collar,
There you go. Tony, it's sent to your phone, Antonio. But we don't want to remove the original plastic on it.
de
Yeah, liquor or something.
El Tequila. I mean, it's something.
It's something tequila. I'll snap a picture
Mhm.
of that and see if we can make that out too. Let's see here. So yeah,
It's
sorry
just-
guys, we got sidetracked.
Yeah,
I just found something really
It's
cool.
very sweet.
Oops. Very sweet.
Really good. Though.
So I'm watching as the thread goes up, the chat goes up of all of the exceptional pours that are going out there. I'm so glad that we're all enjoying a pour with one another tonight.
Yeah, thanks again for joining
Mhm.
us, guys. This is always an honor to hang out with you
Mhm.
guys. It really is.
Very
Yeah.
tasty.
Yeah, I mean, this is great. I really appreciate you guys having me on.
I can't thank you enough for joining. Not really, man, but Jo challenged me to review a tequila. I'll be doing that soon as I recover from this cold. Yeah, we were giving each. We had The Boys Are Back in Town, which is where we got some of the original cast of We Talk Whiskey Wednesdays. When it was back at 9:00, we had Josh Daniels, we had Antonio and myself, and we gave each other challenges. Kitty and I were given the review
Mhm.
to do the Redneck Riviera.
That was good.
Josh was a rum and Antonio was a tequila.
I like that.
Oh, I do like this.
Oh, it's interesting. It's just yeah, Kitty. I think you said it best. It's like that those cherry Twizzlers. You know what I mean? That
they were old school, the old school ones, because they changed the formula on them. This is definitely the.
Mhm.
It's like, yeah, it's good.
It is really
It's
good.
good.
Honestly, this Elijah Craig.
I know. I
No,
like.
Chase had Elijah Craig with some of that.
I did. That's what I've been
Really
doing. I've
funny.
been kind of going back and forth on the nose between the. We poured the 1792 and the Elijah Craig.
Maybe it was subliminal, but once you said tequila, I swear I can get tequila in the base of that now. We didn't realize it, but it was hidden underneath this plastic label right here. But yeah, there's a word there, and it's like I don't want to take that label off.
You think there might be tequila in there?
It says it. It says CERE. I think it's an EAAL tequila. I know how to say tequila.
We got that part right.
Yeah, I might run that through Google Translate, which
Mhm.
might tell me it says the House of the Basset Hound, as far as I know. But Google Translate is a terrible thing to try and use.
Mhm.
Huh.
But yeah, I'm definitely. I don't know how I haven't noticed that before. So good eye, Kitty.
It's what I do.
Yeah, that's why she's here. She's got definitely helping us big time. I mean, Kitty brings in so much talent to this thing, and I can't thank her enough for joining the Party Source reviews here. Oh boy,
I drink a little faster than Jo.
I'm still. She
that's my
is
problem.
down completely.
I know. I'm like,
I'm still enjoying mine.
yeah. I just need to know where my next pour is coming from.
My thing is I love the old adventure bottles, but I also love finding new bottles
Yeah, that's good.
of things I've never heard of. And like Japanese whiskeys, or I don't care if it looks like it's straight up rot gut moonshine,
Mhm.
or a liquor that is distilled from fermented fish eggs. I am very willing to try it at least once, even if it turns my nose inside out when I smell it. That's just me. I'm incredibly adventurous, especially when it comes to eating and drinking.
Well, and I noticed too is like we're not going to add these dusty bottles to our infinity
These
bottle.
are too beautiful to be put into
This
our
is too
infinity
much.
bottle.
But we're getting very, very close to the 2.0. This one is the After Party, aptly named by our viewers. We already reviewed one Hot Mess, which actually was delicious.
I was
And
actually
I love
very
that.
good with it.
Yeah,
It's beautiful.
I gotta tell you, it's very very
This
tasty.
is from a collection that Kitty brought in. It has matching glassware, and it's from a collection called Make It
Get the man. Check it out. They have really good. I mean, this is the Art Deco
Which, if
collection.
you see the box that it came in, Kitty fixed the box where it said "Make It the Woman."
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah, well, in the what's in it is awesome. We've been doing some pretty great reviews, and I'm like, I mean, this is a very besides the little bit of peanut butter whiskey we put in there, but everything else in
There's
there
some
has been
really,
really
snotty stuff in there
yeah.
right now. We're
I
just
know.
say that, and just watch our reviews over the next month because Kitty and I kind of get a little posh
Well,
from some
well,
nice,
it wasn't so
fancy
much as being posh as much as it was. I wanted, we if you can't get your hands on it, you still want to hear about it. You know what I mean, and that was where I was.
Yeah.
It was like, we've even brought in some of our own, our own. I brought in my handy and brought in Jill brought his Michters. I mean, it's like things that we can't get our hands on.
No.
They're coming, guys, and we
Mhm.
do a heck of a pair off against them.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we do some. We do a really cool flight, neck to neck, and then we do a blind flight with them. So
All right.
yeah.
Like I said, next time, when I do decide to do a live, I do want to have you guys on the channel, and
That'd be awesome.
I'll be sending you some Dusties to try that live. So I plan on doing it with basically everybody. So it's gonna be a good time.
Mm-hmm.
Antonio just posted, and he says, "I believe it says it's cherry tequila liqueur."
Okay.
I can totally see that. And once we were able to read that it said tequila, that's probably where that extra residual sweetness is that we're getting.
The agave of tequila.
Yeah.
Well, it would have, we've had this now for a while and just now finding
Yeah.
That's good.
I mean,
No, because we've both been like, what is this? It has to be a cherry liqueur.
we knew the
like
cherry
cherry
liqueur,
tequila.
but I mean, it's been right there in front of our face the whole time that it was a tequila base. So
Yeah, I mean, I found it to be. I think it's really good.
it's different,
Nice,
for
sweet
sure.
flavors to it.
If given the chance to find another bottle of this, heck, I would love to.
Yeah, absolutely.
If anybody knows any old shops in Mexico that have any of this, let me know. I'll buy it off of you. Yeah, that's one of them in which, if I ever end up drinking the rest of this is one of them in which I'm going to definitely save this bottle.
Yeah, it's an awesome bottle.
Very much so.
All right. So there's the cherry tequila liqueur.
I decided to finish off that 1792. I had to.
Yes.
I don't
Those
believe
are both
1792.
really good picks.
Let's see here. Yes, Añejo, I can still handle, says Antonio to Richie Z. Antonio doesn't do tequila.
No. So it says, Richie says, do you have any of the resilient bourbon bottles made it to your store? I picked up One Barrel 100. It's fantastic Dickel Source bourbon.
Barrel one, the Burrell.
What was that I said?
If he means Burrell.
Bro. You moved it.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I got it here.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh,
yeah.
Burrell. Okay, yeah.
The Burrell. It's pronounced. I was calling it Barrel for the longest time, and it turned out to be pronounced Burrell. And the Burrell bourbon, and when one of the owners of the company tells you that it's pronounced some other way, I always
They're probably
try to
right.
listen to them.
Mhm, it's like
Yeah.
Legend.
Yeah, Legend.
Legend.
All right,
It's French. Is it French? We don't know.
It's
Yeah.
9:05, and a lot of people
Yeah.
are jumping ship.
Mhm.
I
Is
guess
it
because I know
9:05?
this is
Oh,
normally time
okay.
for us to sign off, and
Mhm.
so it
That
makes
was
me wonder
awesome.
if Mash and Drum has started his chat.
Dan, that was delicious. Thank you
Dan,
for sharing.
Thank you so
And thank
I'm-
you guys, like I said, for having me on, and then for these pours here. It was awesome, and I do want to do this with you guys again for sure.
Definitely.
I'm gonna go hunting now.
You have unfortunately gone through my Dusty collection.
That's it.
That's it for me.
I didn't have anything to contribute this time,
No,
but I
he
will.
says Not barrel, but I love Burrell. Okay. Not Burrell, but I love Burrell. Okay. What barrel bottle are you talking about? Barrel 100. I'm not familiar with that one.
Burrell.
I'm
Okay.
confused.
I am too.
What's
I
going on?
am too. And that's my perpetual state of my mind.
Mm-hmm.
He deals with me on a
You know,
regular
I
basis.
plan on having some more dusties with you guys. So I'll be sending you something here soon.
Okay,
Oh,
good.
okay, cool.
I would love that.
Cool. All right, man.
Yeah.
I would say I'll reach out and fist bump you, but
Well, cheers, you.
well, cheers, yeah. Cheers.
Cheers, Dan.
Cheers, you guys.
Dan.
Cheers
Thank
to everyone out there.
Everybody out there, guys. And so join us next week when let's see, next week for our 4th year anniversary of YouTube and our 2000K run, trying to get those extra 2,000, get the 2,000. And God knows what we're going to be doing next week, but we know we're going to be bringing in some fantastic people. Dan, hopefully you'll be able to join us.
Yeah, I should be. I was just thinking about the dates. I should be good for it.
And Richie Z says resilient 14-year-old.
Okay.
All right. Take
All right.
care, guys. And the fireworks are going off at the Red Stadium. We can hear it here. So,
Mhm.
guys, that's a great send-off. Cheers. Have a
Cheers.
great week. We'll see you very soon.
See you next week.
Bye, everybody.